And our last speakers represent quite unusual case. This community is occupied by Russian troops since June 2022. But military administration of the community kept in touch with most people, residents who left the city, and continued to care about them and solve their housing problems. Let's watch the video. Severodonetsk, or Seversko-Donetsk, as we call it in Ukrainian manner. I invite Olena Lukanyuk, Government and Legal Engagement Officer, International Organizations for Migration in Ukraine, and Alexei Harchenko, Head of Severodonetsk City Military Administration, with their case of cooperation. Cooperation of Severodonetsk City Military Administrations with the International Organization for Migration. Alexei, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear partners. Today we shall speak about some positive experience, something positive that we have done together with our international partners. As for today, despite very difficult conditions of the functioning of our municipality, and despite the difficulties experienced by our residents, we have been capable of preserving all local authority institutions. Severodonetsk civil military administration have provided for the function of medical and social institutions, educational institutions, cultural centers, and they are still running. But we understand that the most painful issue is providing our residents with housing, because our residents have been dispersed all over the territory of Ukraine. And I can share with you information and to say that as for now, we have 56,000 IDPs registered with our territorial community. So even before the beginning of the full-scale invasion, when Severodonetsk was the receiving municipality and we had opened our doors to all budgetary institutions, to all those people who wanted to move to Severodonetsk from the that time occupied Lugansk. And at that time, that is before the beginning of the full-scale invasion, due to wonderful, I believe, wonderful, unprecedented cooperation with international partners, we started a project of international technical assistance in cooperation with the IMO on the improvement of residential conditions for the IDPs in the east of Ukraine. The idea was to build housing for the IDPs using the funds of the KfW. But then, unfortunately, the security situation aggravated and we could not move on with that project. Nonetheless, the civil administration, military administration and NGOs and our international partners, and in particular with the International Organization of Migration, IOM, it gave us a possibility to relocate that project to the territory of the Lviv region. And we hope that these projects shall be finished in the nearest future. And so what are we doing in the town of Drohobych, of the Lviv region? We are going to build 2 residential buildings, high-rise residential buildings. And 50% of that residential space will be given to the IDPs from Severodonetsk and Kamena Buska municipality in the Lviv region. We are building 11 quickly assembled buildings, and part of that residential area will be given to the IDPs from our territorial community. However, I should also say that every new day, every new month brings new challenges, and now we have faced we have first declared that our staff potential will be maintained, but now we need to start real action, because our municipality has more than 200 highly qualified medical doctors. And so far in our municipality we have 500 teachers who work online, and they provide online teaching for 6,500 children. So the situation is rather challenging with online education, and this year we need to give a possibility to our children and our teachers to keep this bond, to keep this link. We need to provide our teachers and children with offline educational capabilities. Therefore, we developed a concept of a project for the development of the renewal quarter. In that district, we're going to have preschools, schools, a healthcare facility, and also we are going to have some residential housing there as well. So today I have listened about the work of the Hansen mission in Ukraine, and I think that we could, as far as the future projects are concerned, we could also provide our projects with relevant educational and healthcare infrastructure, because we do have really good medical equipment, which is modern, and we have a multifunctional hospital that is right now in the town of Ukrainka of the Kiev region. So we have really wonderful medical staff, medical healthcare professionals. We have modern equipment, but unfortunately we do not have relevant conditions that would give the medical doctors to work to the full of their potential in compliance with the norms. And although we have some successful cases and we're very proud of this cooperation with national partners, but we need to understand that there is a long way ahead of us. We need to move on. We need to look for solutions to new challenges. And we need to stride towards victory together. Thank you.
Let me introduce the work of my organization, the International Organization for Migration Mission in Ukraine. So we focus our activities on the internally displaced populations, and in particular, I want to present our housing initiative, which currently covers 7 oblasts across Ukraine. So this is Kievska Oblast, Lvivska Oblast, Ivano-Frankivska Oblast, Chernivetska Oblast, Vinnytska Oblast, Poltavska, and Kirovogradska Oblast. In particular, as Mr. Harchenko just mentioned, we had an opportunity for such community as temporarily occupied Siverska Donetska Gromada to accommodate the needs on the territory of communities in Lvivska Oblast. And this is an example of successful twinning cooperation in between the municipalities. I would like to show how all the system of our housing approach works on the example of, for instance, the reconstruction on the territory of Kievska Oblast, in particular in Irpin. On this slide, it's the general frame of the housing project. This is a cooperation with the government of Ukraine on the monitoring functions of the implementation of project activities. But all the main activities and cooperation is done directly in between the IOM and municipalities. We are trying to provide the additional housing units for the municipal property, and so that the idea of the project is to integrate the displaced community in the hosting community, but also to provide a share of housing for the vulnerable local populations, so that to create the sense of integration and co-ownership over the products of the project. We foresee the establishment of the municipal management bodies also in the municipal property and the revolving funds in the municipal property. And on this particular point, I want to take a moment and extend the gratefulness to Severodonetsk military administration because the staff of the administration currently shares the knowledge and experience they have gained in the phase of the project we had before the full-scale invasion. So we actually started the project in 2020. In 2022, it was interrupted and basically relocated to the oblasts, which were indicated on the previous slides. And for the example in Kievska Oblast, just 2 days ago, the construction started in Irpin, and so the particular case is that the multi-apartment house was of 63 apartments was completely destroyed in March of 2022. So under the project design, which was provided by the city administration, and this is also the part of the cooperation, the construction of the new multi-apartment 78 apartment buildings has started, and also the design envisages the provision of the commercial spaces on the ground floor. So when the construction is over, and this is foreseen for the beginning of 2026, so those extra 15 apartments will be the ownership of municipalities, and as well as the commercial spaces. The part of the agreement is the ban on the alienation of the property, so those housing and commercial properties will stay in the municipal ownership, and so they will rent those units for the affordable price, and the revenues from the rent will go into the revolving fund. This is how all the system will will function. What is foreseen as a final products of our activities? As I mentioned, our overarching goal is the establishment of the revolving fund and the municipal ownership. But also the legislation facilitation. Here I need to echo many of the previous speakers who already mentioned that some sort of polishing of the national legislation is necessary so that to approximate the different types of standards closer to the European standards. And so basically what we're trying to pilot is the model which is known across Europe as social housing or council estate in different countries. So this is not something new, but this is something we try to extend to the territory of Ukraine. Also, in our programs, we are implementing the environmental and social standards of the World Bank, and also the speakers of this panel, but also especially the part dealing with energy, mentioned several times that meeting the European standards of greener housing or greener construction or other types of intervention is a sort of challenge in Ukraine, and this is some work which is necessary to be finalized at the policy level. And also so that to implement what we foresee to implement, we had to come up with a frame of contracts with the government and municipalities. Just to mention, of course, we have the memoranda of understanding, but also with this, we established the project supervisory board, which is approved by the order of the ministry. So the idea is that to establish the monitoring framework at different levels, at the governmental level and at the municipal level, after the project lifespan is over, because what we are providing is a movable property, and obviously the products of the project will be available after the project lifespan is over. To do all of that, we also conclude the co-partnership agreements with the municipalities, but I think that the main regulatory document, which is a part of our programming, is the municipal programs. In the local regulatory framework, it is important that municipal programs are publicly available, and so that each member of the community can get an access to it, read it, and also this is a part of the transparency of over the project. And I think that I need to stop here. But also, once more, I want to underline what we are striving for at the establishment of the local development fund or revolving fund, so that this is a mechanism which is to ensure the sustainability, and this is a contribution of the projects to the further development of municipalities we are cooperating with. So, and also I would try probably to answer the question on possible challenges we come across in implementation. So I would name just those ones who are at the policy level. And these are, first of all, first of all, this in the current conditions, this is the necessity to shift the general policy making into the human capital-centered manner, when each individual is seen by the government as a valued, dignified person. This is the top point. The others I mentioned, the environmental general framework, and also some adjustments are necessary to approximate the notions and the frame of the housing policy to what is widely known as social housing or council estate. I think I would stop here, and thank you a lot for your attention and patience.
Thank you very much, Elena. Do you have questions about such an unusual for Ukraine, unusual for the world model of financing of sustainable housing? No, I have one remark maybe, and I see the problem also, the challenge in trying of our government to control everything about reconstruction. This is not about subsidiarity level when we let local communities to do what they do and to do what they can do for their citizens, but also the problem of controlling from the higher level. Don't you see it as a problem in Ukraine?
If I may answer this question, I think that the issue or the challenge is that the decentralization reform, which had started in Ukraine back in 2015, hasn't been finalized because of the start of the full-scale invasion. Obviously, that this is on its way, and it needs to be finalized. That's the matter.
Thank you. І питання до пана Олексія.
There is a question to Oleksiy. I remember that a couple of years ago, I listened to the deputy mayor of Bucha when they were talking about reconstruction of main streets. It was the main problem with communication with the residents, local residents. The projects you are talking about, it's about complicated communication between all stakeholders. How do you deal with this complicated communication? What is the biggest challenge for you? Thank you for this question. Actually, we have launched an unprecedented communication with the community using Zoom, other possibilities. Now we conduct them on quite a regular basis, and we received a great feedback from the residents of the community. They think it should. We have very many interesting proposals on how to involve the community in the development of the budget till to 2025, in writing strategic documents like programs of the community. So our residents will be involved in the development and promotion of those projects, developed in collaboration with our residents and with their active support and involvement. So the ways of communication are at least online, but as we announce them in advance, I would like to organize a summit of IDPs from Severodonetsk city, maybe in the beautiful city of Uzhhorod when sakura is in blossom. Maybe there are some other
speakers, and your applause.